97.9 The Box. It's the Mad Hatter Morning Show. We have a special guest with us this morning from right across the street. Good Lakewood. He is in the building. John, Gray, and Wife, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I was asking her about her name. You don't call her by the name Aventer, do you? Don't you call her?
Aventer. Yeah, Aventer. I call her Av. I call her Baby, Boo.
All of that.
Yeah.
And you don't know if the name means anything?
It was my grandmother's, and she was born in 1927, and clearly somebody was extremely creative back then. I did try to put a definition around my name, but created my own.
Right.
So it means to you what?
It means to me just love. I think that I just love with my whole heart. Sometimes it gets you in trouble.
Can I ask you what the love was that you saw Mr. John?
Wow, he just has the most incredible passion for God that I have ever seen, and it's the real thing, because I could be the one to be like, that's not who he is. The one that you see up there, somebody else, but he is totally in love with God. He totally loves people, and I am the same. I really love people, and the love that I found in him was his unique way to connect, bridge, build, cross-cultural barriers, and just love on people and invite everybody in, giving them a real authentic love without judgment. I mean, that was the best part about my husband, and it keeps growing because I keep seeing different sides of him. We've been presented with some things that will cause you to not love, but his reaction has been ones that have taught me lessons along the way.
What was it for you, Mr. John?
She was weird. She was weird and wonderful, and I mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
She wasn't like everybody else. We met in Atlanta. We were both working at a church. I was the singles pastor and a youth pastor.
Singles.
And, she was part of the dance ministry.
Okay.
And when I met her, I didn't really know how to take her because she had tattoos. She was rocking cut-off shorts. I was like, yo, she used to strip, which is cool. Because I always wanted to marry a stripper. But, I prejudged her based on her appearance.
And she was in the church and you were making this judgment.
Yes, I made the judgment.
Okay.
And here it is. This woman's brilliant. 3 degrees. Graduated, summa cum laude? From college, FAMU, Florida A&M University, Strayer University, master's degree in health service administration. Just a brilliant mind. But because I was only looking at the external things, I'd assumed the incorrect thing. Then I got to know her, and I was like, yo, this girl is cold. But then one Sunday in 2009, I watched her worship. We ended up next to each other in service at the altar, and she was worshiping. And I said,
was following the weird girl.
Yeah, I wasn't following her because 2 weeks in a row we ended up sitting next to each other without trying. So the second week I was
all accidental.
Yeah, I was like, yo, why are you following me? She was like, you're sitting in the dancer section, which I was. I was like, but I tied, so I sit wherever I want.
Oops.
Hello, my check's clear. This is my seat.
By me.
But what happened is I said her worship is real, and that day I grabbed her hand without knowing her name and started worshiping God at the altar. And when she walked out of church that day, I stopped her, and that's when we had our first conversation. And that was January of 2009. And I asked her to be my girlfriend in April of 2010. Then I proposed in July of 2010. We got married in December of 2010. Because once you know, you know. You don't play no games.
How did you know? Because everybody doesn't know.
Here's how I knew. I knew because I had a peace, and it wasn't like any other choice I had ever made. Everybody has blind spots. People who have faith, and I've been in church my whole life, everybody got blind spots. I got strengths, I got weaknesses. My weakness was relationship. I would always choose incorrectly, based on insecurity or immaturity. So I would choose somebody based on external factors, not what they carried on the inside. So I'd be like, yo, she cold, but cannot pray me out of a wet paper bag. You understand what I'm saying? Or she's cold, but she got a little hood on her and not enough dreams. But with her, she came from this great family. She was real chill, and she had all these other gifts. And God had to be like, don't be a dummy and let that go. God had to speak to me. He didn't make me marry her, because God don't make you do nothing. But I felt like he was leading me in her direction.
Do you know exactly what he said in the time that he said it?
It was March of 2010.
You really remember?
Yeah.
March 25th.
March 25th.
He has it in his notes, I saw.
Really? And it was, it was like 12 something in the morning. I woke up out of a sleep. God said, you can propose to Aventer July 17th. It's a Saturday. I said, he said, you can. He didn't say I must. So my thing was, if I look in this calendar and July 17th is a Saturday, then that was God. And I looked and it was. And from then on, I just moved forward. So I started collecting the pieces of my heart that I had lent to other females, got that back. So I could give. Because I wasn't.
I feel you. That's real talk. Real talk. Yeah. I appreciate the real talk. I appreciate that.
And so once I felt like I was ready, I gave her that hot $300 ring. And that rock hit me for a grip. And then we went on. Now we 6 years in, 2 kids later, and God's been doing great things.
All right, we're going to talk about the show in a little bit. I know we got to talk about the show. Do you think that a lot of people hear a God inside them speak sometimes and they continuously ignore it? Like you said, you knew what you had to do with your wife because God told you, you were clear what he told you, and you acted upon it.
Yeah. I believe God speaks to everybody. What kind of God who's a creator and a father would not guide his children? But we have free will. We choose to listen or not.
So we purposely ignore?
I think there are some that do. And then there are some that may not be mature enough to discern that it's God. Sometimes they think it's their imagination or, something else. And they talk themselves out of, a beautiful life. Like, that's too big. I can't go after that. That'll never happen for me. And why do we sit there and live for average? And why do we dumb it down to make insecure people feel better? Go be great. You're great. Why would you have to apologize for who you are? You got a show. You got your name on it. And this crew that's with you is because you got a gift. You got a dream. You got a calling on your life. And everybody has that. And somebody's calling. Way to go. In the middle of a deep moment. Keisha.
I think it sounded...
Really?
Oh, come on,
Seriously?
Keisha. This is the kind of impression you want to make when we got
Keisha.
Pastor Bray and his wife. That's the kind of impression you want to make.
Sorry,
Don't come back. You were saying, so I'm sorry.
I was just saying that I think that none of us should live a life of less than. Life's too short, and I don't want to play it safe. I want to do crazy stuff and jump out on faith and believe for great things, not just for my wife. And it ain't about material things. It's about leaving an impact. I got kids now. I want to leave them a legacy that says my dad did something great. He tried. He didn't get it right every time, and he failed a lot. But the times that he succeeded, daggone, did he hit, and he hit big.
All right, you have a huge following, so don't take this the wrong way. With such a huge following, usually when somebody starts having a huge following like this, they go and start their own movement, so to speak. I don't want the guy across the street to take this the wrong way. Why are you still there across the street at Lakewood?
Well, I am.
Did that sound bad?
No.
If it did, I apologize. But usually when somebody has such a huge following, I'm just being honest with them,
Yeah.
When somebody has a huge following like this, it's like you can't act like it's not huge. I mean, I get it. Joel is huge. He's big. But, a lot of people go to see you in the middle of the week.
Make the announcement here. An exclusive.
Are you serious?
I'm making an exclusive announcement. I am going to start a church in my house with my wife and my kids.
Hold on. I'm like, oh, snap. Oh, God.
Yo, I feel like there's a scripture that says a bishop or a pastor should be the husband of one wife, able to rule his household well. There's some things I learned about myself in the taping of this show that helped me to realize that I have some more growing up to do in the way that I handle my wife, the way I handle her dreams, the way I handle her femininity. There's some things that I didn't realize I wasn't doing because I thought marriage was one thing because I never saw a good marriage. I never saw a good husband, never saw a good father. So I'm learning these things. And I feel like if I would ever venture to open or start a
you
church,
gotta get that right first.
I want to get the house right first. And I would never start it in Houston out of respect. I would go somewhere else.
Okay.
Because I don't want the church to be split. You understand what I'm saying?
I got you.
So that's just kind of where I'm at with it. And Pastor Joel's a great man, tons of integrity. And
why did he give you a shot?
I think.
What did he see? What did he see in you? Or do you even
heart.
know?
I think we had the same heart.
Yeah.
I think we have the same heart. We have different expression, same heart. We love people. We don't judge people. We've seen enough of the word being used to beat people up, but that's not the character of Jesus. If you study the way he handled people who weren't believers, you would see a case study in building bridges. The only people Jesus didn't like were super religious people who thought they were better than everybody else. That's who he cleared out the temple. That's who he called whitewashed tombs. That's who he called a brood of vipers.
All right, Mr. John, stop preaching.
I'm just saying. So the super religious who think they're better than everybody should take a look at the way Jesus handled broken people. Stop judging people,
man,
because you're always quick to tear somebody else up, but you got some stuff in your closet too.
Yeah, and see,
you understand what I'm saying? That's it. Turn up. Let's go. What just happened?
And see, it's a good thing. You know, you go Lakewood for some years. You know, when Joel wouldn't be there, you know, he might have some other people fill in, and it'd be cool. You getting the word, it's cool. Then when Mr. Gray came in, you know, you hear people talking. They be like, Joel ain't here today. You hear some people, oh man. We should have stayed on. Mr. Gray came in. I mean, the first time I heard him, you know, Joel get through your soul. And then when he came in, like he used so many just personal examples, and he hit your soul. People crying in the. I like. So if Joel ain't there, we know we good. We like, oh, got it, baby.
Does that pump up the ego a little bit when you hear stuff like that? Because I'm sure people tell you that kind of stuff all the time.
No, I'm not an ego. My wife.
Like how do you take that in? Because everybody's telling you how great you are all the time.
I want to tell you how to stay unfazed. Because everybody can celebrate you when things are going great.
Yes, ma'am.
If there's that one moment where he has an accident and he becomes human, then all of that great credibility about how amazing he is, how great the word is. I can't believe he did that. Did you see what that is? Look at TMZ. Look at media. You know what I'm saying? So I think what keeps us humble is that it can look like this today, but tomorrow we may make a mistake, and that should always keep everybody humble. God has given us this unique gift. I think this is an amazing season, and we just won't be moved in a season by what people think, because people's thoughts and their opinions shift at the drop of a dime. And I mean, and we aren't oblivious to the fact that you can be celebrated in a moment, and once that moment is past, then it's like on to the next thing. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm grateful for my husband's heart, because I was checking for that. I was like, all right, how you feeling? People are excited about us being here. Let's make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do, and we're still loving the same as we were when you were preaching to 7 kids in a basement, you know, until your audience of 1 with me and with our kids. Let's make sure we are the same across the board. And when I knew that was his heart, that gave me a lot of peace about coming here, because it could be a little bit frightening to enter in such an amazing, wonderful legacy like that. But he has made history as the first African American pastor to stand on that platform. And first non-Osteen to become an associate pastor. All those things are amazing, but we want to make sure that we keep that legacy intact, that we are honorable of it at all times, and having an ego isn't a part of that honor.
And I need to add something to that, because I think it's important. The ego is not a part for me, because, of course the humanity, but I never wanted this. I didn't pray to God. I didn't ask God for Lakewood.
This is all accidental.
I won't say it's accidental. I'll say it's providential. Okay. God chose me for it, but I didn't run to it, because if you're ambitious for a thing, you'll run over people to get to it. My thing was, God, I'll serve you at the homeless shelter where I was working in Cincinnati. That was where I felt like I was doing my thing. That's where I felt like I was really having impact. Nobody knew me. I was serving homeless men every day in the freezing cold, making sure they had a bed to sleep in. And that's where my heart is. It's great to be at Lakewood, but the platform don't make you. It only exposes you. And so for me, I never wanted it. I'm grateful for it, but if it leaves tomorrow, I'll still be me.
Be all good.
And so that's why ego's not a part, because I've seen too many church stars. What is you, a church? You walking around with sunglasses on and 9 security guards. Like, what are you doing? You're not even preaching good enough to offend nobody. So why? And I'm not naming names. I'm just saying we ain't no church stars. Stay humble and treat people right. That's it.
I feel you. How were you able to talk your family into, look, God, we're going to get a show? What did that conversation sound like at home? Because at first when you hear that, First, because what you do. And then when you put yourself on this big screen, what you're doing is opening your door to ridicule.
Yep.
And people can assume things, but then when you got the TV show and I see the wifey, I see the kids, so all those opinions really start to run. So what was that conversation to talk them into, or what was it for them to talk you into even doing it?
Well, I think when they approached, they said the Jason Kennedy from E! News, it was the producer, creative producer, and he said, John, I feel like you have a message that people need to hear. And I think your family is compelling enough that people would connect. And I said, I ain't going to do no, salacious reality TV. It needs to be real. If you're going to do a show about a faith family, we're going to show our flaws. We're going to show our scars. We're going to show the pain, because that's real. I ain't going to sit up there and be smiling all day. This ain't weird church TV like, praise the Lord, saints. Isn't he worthy?
Yeah, but don't people put you on a particular pedestal and for them to see that? And all of a sudden they do. I mean, and you always say you got your flaws. You clear about that, but still, you can say it a million times. People who come to see you believe that you are flawless still.
I hope not. If they
know
they're
what I'm
not
saying?
Listening. They're not listening. I think what we decided with the show is that we were going to do a show that was reflective of a black man trying to be a better husband and father in a society that still has its issues with race, with class, with faith. Because the name Jesus apparently is very offensive to a lot of people, but you can talk about any other thing and it ain't offensive. And then I also wanted to show a picture of an African-American woman who's a wife, a mother, a creative, a visionary, who's holding the house together. And I think that's things you don't see in a positive aspect. And then our lens, our filter is our faith. So I'm not trying to get you saved through the show. Just take a look at our life. If there's something you can glean from it, then great. And if not, then great. But I told my wife, we're very people oriented. People gonna say ugly things that don't know us. Your husband fat, your kids ugly, all on social media. 'Cause that's what the show does. And the person that does it only got like 14 followers.
And a flower is the avatar
and
picture.
a private page. And they're gonna be throwing daggers.
Yes, they
but
are.
The moment I respond to them, my platform just became their platform.
That's right.
So I'm gonna let them be small where they are.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna let that turn us against each other or towards the vision. The vision was show these people an accurate picture of a balanced faith life and let them get hope from it.
And you think you guys completed that mission so far?
I feel pretty confident about it because we were able to be ourselves. I wasn't going to become anything, so it was like
y'all wasn't scared to be in front of the cameras and just
take it or leave it. Initially, not scared, but it was different. It was different. It took a little bit of getting used to, and that's just the honest answer. I think the part of the series that have the help stories involved shows what we would have been doing had the cameras not been there. Connecting with people who needed a different perspective on their life issue or their situation or whatever they were walking through. Because we have some pretty heavy-hitting help stories that you will see us kind of walk with people through. And our family life is kind of in the backdrop where we're discussing it and then discussing what we're going through as well. But every episode has a thread of hope for another human who has gone through something traumatic in their life or still walking through some things that are traumatic in their lives right now, and how we would handle it. So uniquely, my husband comes up with some exercises to help them get to a certain thought process, and then they come back to us and tell us how it's been going or how it's doing. Everything doesn't end up in a neat, perfect bow
at the end of the show.
At the end of the show,
because it wouldn't be real life.
You have hope.
That's right.
And that was the bottom line.
Usually when you have to deal with somebody that has seemed to have lost faith, and I know one of your episodes, because I seen a little clip, is dealing with that. Generally, how often do people lose their way and lose faith?
Daily.
This happens all
daily. It happens all the time. It's called the human condition. The world that we live in right now is broken.
There are some things that we question when we turn on the news,
right,
or Google the news every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, I feel like the thing about this show, and my wife said it very well, is there's a underlying, invisible, supernatural thread of hope. And what's crazy is that God's been throughout this whole process. Months before we ever got this show, my wife had a dream, woke me up in the middle of the night. She said, babe, I had a dream I was walking with Oprah. I was like, what? She was like, I was walking down some path, and Oprah was holding my hand, and we were walking, and there was this big field. I was like, you ate pizza. You understand? And I was like, okay, babe. Fast forward to when I was invited to her home, my wife and I, for Super Soul Sunday.
Okay.
And after that taping, she said, we need to discuss business further. And she told her staff to take us to her home. And so we were being driven to her home. And we get out to this patio, and we overlook this vast field, her backyard, and behind her backyard is the ocean. And in the distance, and Oprah walks up, and she grabs my wife's hand, and she says, I need to give you some house shoes because we're going to take a walk. Gives my wife slippers, grabs her hand, and walks her through a path. And while she's walking, I said, babe, that's your dream. This happened before we had a show, before we knew we were going to OWN. So there's a supernatural thread. I know we're supposed to be on TV. I know we're supposed to be on OWN. And I know Oprah was supposed to be a part of it. And her dream came to pass. And there was no way that those two things could have happened. But what she saw in her dream is what she walked out in her life. And our prayer is that the show will give people hope to know you are not alone, that you were created with a purpose, and that God has not forgotten about you and just thrown you on a planet with no hope. You got hope because your God made you for a great purpose.
Right.
Pastor Gray and wife in the studio with us. Tell them the name of the show, when it's on, when they can see it, the whole nine. We need all the details.
Who?
The show is called The Book of John Gray. It is premiering our first episode on this coming Saturday, April 15th at 9 p.m. Central on the OWN network, Oprah Winfrey's network. So please, please, please tell all of your friends and family to tune in.
And text everybody.
Tell everybody you know, because we feel like we have something that will connect with somebody in your family.
How many episodes did y'all do for this season?
8.
8, okay.
Yeah, and then Easter Sunday morning, I'm on Super Soul Sunday with Oprah. Her new season of Super Soul starts, and I'm her first guest.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's kind of like the
You're getting
Book
a
of
double
John.
whammy this
Come on,
weekend.
Doc. It's the Book of John.
Yes.
On OWN.
Yes. And then on Tuesday, he has a book launched called I Am Number 8. So make sure you go wherever books are sold.
What's it
His
called?
first book,
I Am Number 8.
I Am Number 8
Why
by John W. Gray.
Can I ask, or do I got to get that out the book?
Third. It's good.
Well, the book is I Am Number 8, and it comes from 1 Samuel 16, where the prophet was looking for a king, and Jesse presented 7 sons, but none of them were the ones that God chose. And the prophet said, are these all your sons? He said, well, I got the youngest one. He's out in the field. You don't really want him.
That's right.
And he said, I ain't going nowhere till he comes in. And it was the one that everybody else overlooked, the one that everybody else hated on, the one nobody else saw coming. And that was the one God chose. I'm that guy from the single parent household. Father left when I was 4, abused at 4.5. Everybody laughed, ridiculed, mocked. Wasn't the cutest dude. Wasn't the coolest dude. Didn't have the money, didn't have the clothes, but I had faith and I had a word over my life. I'm number 8. So if you ever been overlooked, undervalued, forgotten, hated on, this book is for you.
Yes.
Because God will take you from anonymous to being relevant in one moment. From what's your name again to we've been waiting on you. That's what God will do.
Man, y'all, let's go get this book, man.
Let's go. Oh, man.
Yes.
It's an honor to sit in the studio with you. I appreciate y'all taking the time to come and be on our show.
Thank you
I
for
really,
having
really do.
us.
I would say I wish you luck, but I you know how you can sit next to somebody and you can feel something. I can't really
The
put in
energy.
words, but you feel that whatever they do,
Well,
it's going to work.
Since
Right.
you feeling it, why don't you come on the Wednesday night service?
Yeah.
You'll be wanting to come every Wednesday because I go so I can get myself cleansed before I go DJ at the club that night.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Can you do it like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Monday?
He needs more
Tuesday?
cleansing than any person I ever met.
Can
sir.
you do private service
Yeah,
for him?
if y'all can take him into a special place where you can just pray over him, man.
Come on, next season, we got you.
You on the
Come on
second
over
season of
here.
the Book of John Gray.
Look, he the whole season, man. Y'all ain't gonna be able to do this in one sitting, man. I'm telling you right now. Well, thank y'all so much. Okay, the show's on again. Give me all the details one more time.
April 15th, 9 p.m. Central on OWN, the Book of John Gray. And then on April 16th, Super Soul Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. And then April 18th, my book launches everywhere.
Thank
I
you
am
so
number
much.
8.
Pastor Gray and wife in the studio. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.